Alright, welcome back to this video tutorial. Well, I guess it's more of a welcome back for me. It's just going to cut to this next part for you, but for me it's the next day. Alright, so we have here our scene. We've duplicated our planet, moved the first one over there, and then recentered this one. So, we need to make it look more like this. So let's do that. First thing we want to do is rename this to planet underscore 2 and atmosphere underscore 2. Alright, select our planet 2 object. First thing we want to do to make a planet look livable. I think that's the right word. I don't know what the right word. How do you describe a planet that is not dry and barren but green and has water? What's the correct term for that? I'm a space nerd, I should know, but I'll think of it later when it's not important anymore. Alright, so add water. I'm going to Shift A and add a color mix RGB. So this node is going to control the difference between our land and our water. So to control the factor, we'll need to add a texture to control the factor. You could use an image texture, but I like to use just a couple of other procedural textures for this. So I'm going to drop in a noise texture and there it is, converter and a color ramp. Plug the noise texture into the color ramp into the factor. Then give that a second to update. And you can kind of see some texture there. So you want to change these values, add a little bit of contrast. There we go. Now, that looks pretty terrible. Oops. So you want to just add, you can do as much as you want here, how much water you do or do not. Oh, I just realized I made a mistake. Quickly, I'm going to plug this back in, reset the texture, and click this 2 right here to make this an independent texture. Name this planet underscore 2. And because it's going to bug me, I'm going to select the first planet and name it planet. There we go. Alright, select planet 2 again. Plug this back in. There we go. So we're going to use this noise texture to control what's water and what's not. So I'm going to change this to blue real quick. We won't leave it that way. We're going to have some more textures control the color of the water. And you can see right off the bat, that looks pretty awful. Yeah, cool. Alright. So change that. First, we want to change the detail value. You want to add more detail because land has an infinite amount of detail. The smaller and smaller you get, the more detail you find. Yeah, science or something. Now, something we could do. Let's see. We want to add because that's just kind of splotchy everywhere. You got oceans and a couple lakes. Let's see if we could throw in some rivers by adding probably a Voronoi texture and just drop it in there. Ooh, that makes a mess. That's an awesome though. Holy cow. We can play with the values here. No. What was that at? 5? You can change with the distribution of them. You just want to find something that you think looks cool. That's what's important here is does it look cool? At least that's what's important for me. I like things to look cool. So just going to play with this a little bit until we get something that we like. And I like that. I think that looks pretty good. Lots of continents and islands and cool little rivers. Alright. Excuse me. So, next we need to change our colors of our land a little bit. Wow, the atmosphere is phasing in with the sphere over there. Interesting. Well, let's fix that. You just increase the scale of the atmosphere a little bit. But we're not going to worry about that right now. So now we need to change the colors of our planet. So go back to this first orangey values we had and change these just to green. Get some different colors of green in there. I mean, nothing in nature is lime green. At least, I mean, maybe. Usually it's a bit darker though, right? You're not gonna, you don't look down on Earth and see just lime green spots everywhere. I mean, maybe you do. I've never been to space, but you never see that in the pictures. All right, so just add some greens in there, and those aren't looking. Oh, that because we have this over we have this over here too. Change these to green, maybe a little less green because these are our details. So maybe let's make this one red, and basically you just want to. Oh, I don't like that. But we don't want just green. So let's maybe come over here and try playing with this one a little bit. Oh, that's so subtle though. Maybe if we change the mixing factor a little bit. Basically, you wanna just play around until you find what you like. Oh, that's kind of neat. Have some variations in there. I think these greens might be a bit too bright still. Or some greens. Maybe it's these greens. Some of these greens are too bright. Oh, there we go. Okay, I think that. I'm going to turn off our atmosphere real quick just to get a good look at the textures. Okay, I think that looks kind of cool. You got some like lighter, maybe mountainy areas, and some greens and some reds mixed in. Oh, you know what? One thing I forgot about. We want to add some bump to our planet. Add some like mountains and hills and stuff. So to do that, uh, sidetrack. Sorry, should have done this on the other one. So Shift A, add in a vector and bump. Plug that normal value into the normal. And here you can use any one of these you want. Let's see, which one do I want? Maybe I'll try plugging in our detail value into, make sure you plug it into the height or else it'll look funky. And oh, wow, that's extreme. That is absolutely not what we want. So change down the strength real low. That's 0. That's not what we want. So shift click and drag just so you're barely getting just a little bit of texture, and I don't like that. So maybe I'll try this one for everything that's been mixed together. Okay, increase the strength a little bit. Whoa. All right. Shift click to drag just so you just want a little bit of texture. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. Of course, I mean, you want as much as you want. You do you. Don't let me tell you how you should or should not make things. This is just how I like to do things. Alrighty. Now, the color for the water looks terrible. So let's fix that. So you'll see in this image here it is. We have some lighter color waters towards the land and a little bit of darker as we get further out to sea. So let's do that. So what we can do to do that is use these same two nodes right here. Let's take the color value and plug it into the bottom value, replacing that blue. You'll see we're starting to get a little bit of color. So Shift A, add in a converter and our color ramp. This is one of the best parts of the shader editor is color ramps. We use them in everything. It's awesome. All right, drag this over so we can see this is the value that's closer to land. So let's change this to like a good, good light blue, something like that. And then this one to a much darker blue. Drag that value up, and maybe this one down a little bit. You want that to be subtle generally. There we go. I think that looks all right. Maybe lighten it up just a little bit. Cool. Then take this one, add a new slider, and drag this all the way to the end, and make this one a much darker blue. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. Let's turn our atmosphere back on. All right, all right. That looks good. That looks good. I'm going to save my work because Blender 2.8 has been it's not super stable. There's a warning on their website not to use this in production yet because it's just a beta version, so it's a little buggy. That's all right. It's fun. It's fun. So I want to select this atmosphere. I want to decrease the blend value just a little bit. I think we had a bit too much going on. And maybe change the color just slightly. All right, cool. Next thing we need to do is add some clouds. So to do that, select our atmosphere. We're here, Shift D, scale it up. And, oh, we never named this material either, so name this atmosphere. Click this 3, change it to, oops, clouds. Cool. So now it's its own independent texture. Delete the layer weight. Then add a texture, image texture, and we want to open up an earth clouds texture. So here we go. Earth clouds, plug it into the factor, and you can see that didn't do anything because we need to add in an input texture coordinate, plug it into the vector, change the projection type to sphere. There we go. We have some good looking clouds, except they're blue. Change that to white. If you've watched my How to Terraform Mars video, you've done this before. Sorry. All right, so scale that down. So let's grab our, oh man, this was confusing, man. We got atmosphere, atmosphere, and atmosphere 2_1. That's because this is our clouds. I spelled that wrong. Well, let's grab our atmosphere 2 and let's just scale it up for a second so it's nice and big and out of the way so we can just focus on the clouds. We want to get our clouds. I'm going to hold shift to get them just above the surface. Let's see. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. Then grab our atmosphere and scale that back down so it is just above the clouds. The reason I make the atmosphere big first is because sometimes when you're scaling down your clouds, they'll end up being larger than the atmosphere, and that can look kind of funny. I think I might have done that anyway. Yep, okay. So make sure your clouds are larger than your atmosphere. All right, it's looking pretty good. I'm going to select the clouds again and Shift A to add in a converter and color ramp. This will just help us control a little more of cloud coverage. Whoop, there we go. Get something like that. I think that looks pretty good. And if you want to add some detail to your clouds, click Shift A, add in another vector, and bump. Plug in the normal value to the normal value, and then the image into the height value. That'll create some extremely bumpy clouds. I'm not sure, when you add normals in Eevee, they kind of ignore lighting until you change the strength. So let's turn the strength way down. There we go. Add some good bumps to our clouds. I'm going to control the cover, turn that down a little bit. Cool. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Um, one thing we can do, a super great feature of Eevee is this bloom feature. Add a little bit of glow to our planets. I'm going to increase the threshold because we don't want the clouds glowing as much. Let me just see, we have just a little gentle blend. You can increase the intensity maybe, maybe not. The radius. Now you can just play with that. Whoa, that's very bright. Hold up. Ah, play with that. Play with that till it works. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this tutorial, I think. Um, that's going to bother me, so I'm going to grab that atmosphere and scale it up. Shift click just slightly to get rid of the weird mixing. Awesome. Let's save my work again. Now, we did this in the Eevee render engine, which is awesome. We have a weird seam there. That should go away when you do your final render, though. I don't know why that just appears in the preview, but it does. So, if you wanted to change to cycles, go over here, just select the cycles engine here, and you can see everything is very dark. That's because the lamps work a bit differently. So I'm going to go select our sun, click use nodes, and change the strength to like 5. You also see we have some weird shading here. If you remember from the Mars tutorial again, that's because the atmosphere object is actually casting shadows onto our world. So I'm going to select atmosphere 2, go over to the, that's not right. There we go. This object, what is this? Object properties? Object settings, go to cycle settings and disable shadow. I'm going to select the first one too and also disable shadow. And there we have it rendered in cycles. I'm going to change this to GPU just to speed it up a little bit. And that looks pretty fantastic. I'm going to jump over here to this one by selecting it and clicking the period key on the, what is that over there, the keypad or whatever. Take a look at that. That looks pretty good as well. All right, so there we've just created 2 awesome planets. Very cool. And you know what? You know what? I think, yeah, in this I had created a third one. It's kind of a gray, rocky, moon-like texture. So let's do that too. I'm gonna save. It's so great because usually when you in the old versions of Blender, when you'd save, you've had to like save over this file. Yes, but now it just realizes, well, you've got the file open. Of course, you want to save over it, which is handy. So you can see just down there at the bottom, it's saved. All right, to create a more, actually, I want to switch back to Eevee because it's fun. I'm going to grab, let's see, I'm going to grab just this planet. First one, Shift D to duplicate, click X to move it along the X, G, X, move it over here, click the period to focus it. All right, so this is what we got to work with. Select it, make it its own texture, click that 2 there. All right, here's what we've got to work with. Actually, first, I'm going to do what I forgot to do earlier. Shift A, add vector bump, plug in the normal value, take the mix, plug it into the height, reduce the height dramatically. There we go. Just adds just subtle textures. All right. So let's once again let's just change these colors to grays. Gray, or this is all you. You do whatever you think is cool. And okay, that's from the bloom. I'm just going to turn that off. That's being weird. All right, I'll change that to like a dark gray. So that's for our detail. So let's change the mixing factor. We don't want as much of that. So where is those blues coming? Oh, I guess that's slightly blue there. Well, that looks pretty good. Huh. Yeah, I mean, it's easy as that. You just got to, change the colors around. And let's say maybe you want everything to be controlled by one color ramp. Just Shift A, input, converter, color ramp. Drop it right before the color that gets plugged into the shader, and here you go. You can you can do you can do that. Um, yeah, increase the strength of your noise if you want. You this, like I said, this isn't necessarily a tutorial. This is just how I like to do things. So you do what you like to do. Hopefully this has inspired you to be creative and come up with something awesome you want to do on your own. Because really the only limit is your imagination. And I know we've all been told that throughout our whole lives, but it's really true. There are no limits to the things you can or cannot do in Blender and oops in other 3D softwares. Because see, we just created 3 awesome planets, and I don't know how long we've been going, maybe 40 minutes, 20 minutes for this part. It's really not hard. I slowed it down to explain it. Um, I could pump one of these out in 5 minutes. Not to brag or anything, just saying that you can do anything in Blender, and it's awesome. I love it so much. So thank you for watching this tutorial. Once again, my name's Isaac from Fictional Reality Media. Visit our website. I'll you know I'll post screenshots of these. I'll put the textures up for you to download. Not okay, not the rock textures, because I got these from CG Textures and Texture Haven. They don't belong to me. All rights go out to them, so I can't necessarily give them to you on my website. But this cloud one, this is based on NASA image data, which is public property or something. I'll, I'll provide a link to that one. All right. Yeah, visit my website. It's great. It's awesome. Lots to learn on there. Thank you for watching, and you have an excellent day. Bye bye.